Obviously, a disappointing loss last Thursday night, over 72 hours ago. It seemed like a long time ago. We didn't play good enough to get it done, to get the win. Some disappointing things. I don't think we played our best game. Was it a few extra days? Did we come out off of an open week, I guess, and not be as smooth? You never know as a coach what it is, but we just didn't click like we needed to on either side of the ball. Really, when you look at it, we were kind of out of sync and didn't play like we should for whatever reason. A little disappointing, but it's a good football team. I give Virginia Tech credit. They're athletic. They got players, and when you look at it all said and done, it's another 6-2 team that beat us, and probably in the top 25. I don't look at that stuff. So are they in the top 25?
They are.
They are. So when you look at it, we've got 3 losses to 3 top 25 teams, and are we there yet? Doesn't look like it. Okay, can we get there by the end of the year? Maybe. But there's so many. When you look at a top 25 team, it's another 3-point loss, and you're in the game to the end. And that's the thing I stress with our kids is you're right there. You're right there, and there's so many opportunities in that game for us to get that 3 points back. I mean, fumble, kickoff return equals 3. You throw an interception equals 3, and our defense did a heck of a job, like I told you in the press conference afterwards. Other situations, we get an interception, and we're lined up off sides. There's another 3. We drop an interception at the goal line, that leads to 7. So if you add that 9 and 7 up, that's 16 points that, golly, you'd like to see us not do those things, and you win the game. Even if you don't do 2 out of the 3, you have a chance to win the game. So that's how close you are. It's a game of inches, and good football team. And we face even, just as good a football team this week, in my opinion. Again, another new staff. So you look at Mark Rick, hell of a coach, tremendous football coach, won a ton of games at Georgia. Know him from those days. Not only is he a great coach, he's a great person. From everything I know about him, I just got a ton of respect for him as a person. And again, that's more important than anything you do as a football coach. I just think he's a great guy, he's got a great football team, and they're still learning your team, like I think Virginia Tech was. They think they get better, every week really when you look at it. And I think I told you that a week ago. So they're starting to learn what they are. They got a great defense coordinator, Manny Diaz, who's a well-known guy that is playing with a lot of talent over on that side of the ball. And obviously Mark is calling the offense, and which he hasn't done for a while, I guess. But I think he had a lot of control in what they were doing on offense when he was at Georgia, because we played them in the Outback Bowl a few years ago, and it seems like it's a lot of the similar stuff. But Miami's got beat by Florida State, they got beat by North Carolina, they got beat by Virginia Tech, and they got beat by Notre Dame. And people can talk about a 4-game skid. That's there's a lot of people in the country that they're going to be in a 4-game skid when they play those folks. So they've fallen versus 4 great teams too. So this will be a good matchup of maybe those other guys, and we look forward to going down to Miami on Friday. With that, I'll open it up for questions.
Facing another really talented quarterback this week. What do you
and next week too.
Exactly.
Seems like every week in the ACC.
What do you tell your corners after Thursday night to kind of keep that confidence going? Those guys always said how important that is.
Keep it going or get it going.
Well, yeah.
Either one, but you just got to keep going. Like I said, we got explosive games. We're exposing people too. I mean, Scott Orndorff's run down the field pretty clean. So people around the country get exposed. And you're still you let those things happen. Like I said, I'm more upset where we couldn't get the ball back at the end of the game. That's where I'm upset, because we knew they were going to run it. We didn't stop the run like we needed to. I kicked off thinking, they ain't going to throw fades and stop the clock, so they're going to run the ball. We'll stop that, and we didn't. That bugs me, because we had a chance to come back. That was the other 3 points. Add 3 more points into there. That's all we needed was 3 more to get an OT at home. But I got a lot of faith in our corners. I still do. I mean, they Bucky's a big guy. Ford's a good guy. We knew those guys will, be football players, and you got a 6'7", 250-pound wideout pushing off and making plays. They ran a lot of back shoulder fades, which are probably the hardest thing to cover. Now, we didn't see any coming into that game, so you didn't have a chance to really prepare for what they gave you. But they were a type of fade, but it was different. They were throwing it out here. And again, give Evans credit. He threw it well, and I think our guys look at that. We can play with better technique. You always could. But you tell your corners to, hey, wipe that off. Forget about what happened in the past. And we got to play this week. We got 2, very good skilled receivers out there this week as well. in Coley and I think what's his last name, Richards, and two very athletic guys that can make a lot of plays in space.
You talked after the game. You talked about the corners being in good coverage, but just not making a play on the ball. Do you think that's more? I mean, is that something that can be coached, or does it have to be an instinct that player?
It can be coached, you know how people train a Rottweiler, Sometimes, the Rottweiler goes out to kill somebody, which is not good, okay? Especially, talking about, something fatal, and you talk about that nice little puppy that won't bite anybody. We just got to get a little bit more dog in us, okay, I think, out there, and challenge people a little bit more instead of being so nice out there, I think, But, that's an attitude. When you look up there, that's your attitude. What kind of attitude do you have out there? And, I think we got some talented football players out there that just got to, go bite a little bit more, okay? And not be afraid to make a mistake and play confident. But, that's the world we live in, I sat home and watched a lot of ball games on Saturday afternoon, and you're seeing it everywhere, as we've talked week in and week out.
Pat, your emotions on the sideline became a little bit of a topic. Is that something that's just who you are, and it's not an issue, or something that you'd like to temper a little bit?
Well, I'd like to temper if I could, but that's who I am. I think when you look at in a fourth quarter, or, I think for a year and a half now, we've fought all the way to the fourth quarter, through the fourth quarter to the end, and I think everybody's, really happy about, who we are as a football team in finishing games. That's why I hear, oh, great job finishing, even though you guys never quit. Okay, well, if a coach ends up quitting in the second half or at the end of the second quarter and just kind of quits and sits there like a deadbeat on the sideline, probably doesn't, go to our players. So I like to be emotional on the sideline. Okay, now I know I don't need to get out of control, but sometimes you do. That's part of the game. It's part of the emotions of a football game. But that's not who I want to be. I'd like to be cool and up by 50. But sometimes in the heat of a game you're going to be uptight and upset with different situations, whatever it is. And but I'm an emotional guy, and that to me is why we've always clicked too. I think it's part of the game.
Is there a balance?
And there's a balance, but. The Rottweiler and the soft puppy, yes, there's a balance. Okay, I don't want to be the Rottweiler all the time. I want to be the in-between puppy that'll go catch a frisbee every once in a while, but also, when someone says sit, I'll sit. So, I'm a dog today.
Even now, it kind of sounds like this game's a little harder to let go of than usual. What's your
what game? You saying the last game?
Virginia Tech game? Yeah, it sounds like you seem pretty fired up still.
I'm always fired up though. I'm not really fired up though.
What's the goal moving forward now? I know you had said the goal to win the Coastal Division, and that's
the goal is to win each game as we go forward, and you still don't know what's going to happen, Jen. But and again, this game is let go. It was let go, last night with our guys, and it's let go to finish that question. But it's really let go. But you guys bring it up because we got to talk about it.
Heck, you guys spend a lot of time in here going over personnel and defensive alignments, studying this stuff like you do. Does it bother you when you get questioned by people like me that really don't know too much about football?
I don't expect you to know football. It doesn't bother me at all. I'd like to have a clinic someday, to be honest with you. I think it'd be good, a media clinic, just to talk ball, and I'm serious about that. But no, I that's kind of teaching. You guys ask football questions, I'll give it to you. I enjoy answering those questions. That doesn't bother me at all. That's why I go to clinics to do it and just teach what we do and how we do it.
Did you second guess anything that you did or didn't do Thursday night?
Of course you do. You always do. And like I said, anytime we win, it's a team effort. By everybody in this room, anytime we lose, it's a team effort. We lose as a team. And I question a lot of things, especially when you don't get the ball back at the end. I question coverage at times, like, well, could we have done this? Should we have put this in if we'd known they were going to do that? Should we have had it there just in case? Of course. There's no doubt about it. You always do that. That's, is it too much for your guys? That might be the other thing you question. So, no doubt about it.
Is it too much for some guys?
I don't think so. I mean, it depends on what you put in. But for sometimes, you look at Miami's defense, getting back to them, they're doing less here as the season goes on than they did early in the year, trying to, condense things. Maybe they can play faster. That's the same thing we've tried to do as well. But the more stuff you have in, the more mental bust you might have too. So, but we try to condense things and do what the guys can do.
When you went back and watched the film, what were your thoughts on demeanor? And you mentioned after the game you might eat him quite a bit going down the stretch. What are your
For his first game, I was pretty happy. I was not happy with some of the communication he got during the game. I can tell you that. There was some times where I was upset with with the communication given to him, which didn't help him out a whole bunch. I mean, you put a rookie out there and don't talk to him a whole lot, that ain't good. That didn't make me real happy, if I put you out of corner and you didn't really know what to go on, I'd hope that safety and that backer are talking to that poor guy. And we talk about leadership all the time, and that's something that I wasn't happy with. But you know what? DeMar went out there. He wanted to go out there, and overall for his first game, first 2 plays, I saw some good things. Saw a lot of things you got to clean up too, but he'll only get better like he has through this season. I mean, he missed a lot of doubles. He missed a lot of this season, being hurt, and he's graduated since he came back full go. He's just kind of gone like this every week. So I think he'll continue to do that, through the rest of the season.
What was his reaction when you told him he was going to play?
Well, I'm not one of those guys that's going to say, you got to play, Jen. I'd rather him help us out. And so, we kind of, batted around at halftime, and I was like, do we want to do that to him? I'd like to have him for a long time now, not, use a year for half a season. Not something I wanted to do, but when you see corners going down, and, I did not want to put Avante in the game, which I don't know if we talked about that after the press conference. I did not want to put Avante in the game when he wasn't 100% or even 90%. It was just something that I said, we're gonna need him down the road. What are we doing here? I think he can help us eventually make some plays on the edge there, and who knows what will happen. We'll find out in the next few weeks. Really, in the next 4 weeks, we'll know really where he is and what he's got to do to improve in the offseason, which is a bonus. But he wanted to get in the game. We asked him, and he's like, Coach, I want to go. And that made it an easy decision. If he said, Coach, I don't know, if he would have him-hawed around, I probably would have said, stay over there and put somebody else in the game. But because he wanted to go, that made it an easy decision. And that's kind of how you wanted it to be. You wanted it to be we're all in, not, if he had 1 foot like this in and 1 foot out, he's better off staying on the sideline. So that made it easy.
You mentioned before that you don't like to take that red shirt off. They're not going to play a lot of snaps. Do you think that he's ready to play a lot of snaps for you guys these last 4 weeks?
If he's not, he's gonna anyway. He's gonna. So that's we made that decision, and I'm not going to do that to him. He's going to play. So he's going, whether you like it or not.
When you said in the past you don't like to rotate the corners, so if you presume it seems like you're getting Avante back soon, you also got Ryan and Dane there.
Yeah. We're going to rotate him a little bit. Yeah, going to have to. Going to want to. Good question.
What did you see from Dantes Ford? Were you see a little rusty, or are you happy with what he was able to give you?
You know what? I was happy with Dantes. I was really happy with where he was. I was happy he was back and feeling good. I was happy he took a hit, which he took some hits last week in practice too. But I'm really happy with where he is and what he did. He did a lot of great things out there.
How did you go from doubtful to 60 yards from receptions?
They threw it to him, I guess. I don't know. You said out?
No, he was doubtful.
He was doubtful. We didn't know. We didn't know what he's going to do. Surprise, surprise. But you still didn't know what he's going to do. I mean, he didn't go full go all the time. He never took a big hit. He got tackled by accident 7-on-7 last week, and we yelled at the guy that tackled him because we didn't want him to get dinged up. So you still didn't know what you were going to get. It's a different deal.
What has Nathan done best for you this year?
I think you guys ask me this question every week. Nathan is, what has he done best? I mean, he's made a lot of plays. He gets us in a good run check at the line of scrimmage. He throws the ball pretty accurate. He knows where to go with it. He's a leader out there.
What do you think of the hit he took when he had that run down to the side?
When he caught the ball?
Yeah.
It wasn't a big hit. I think he's got to stand down a little bit. It's like he's, kind of went after the DB or whoever hit him there.
He said he didn't say anything.
He didn't. It looked like he did, but I didn't ask him. It didn't matter. I like it. He's got an attitude. I want to make sure he doesn't get hurt. So that's my only thing. But it wasn't a big hit. I think he felt like he gave that guy a big hit. I think, but I never asked him. I don't think it was a big hit either way, though. He might have thought he hit him, but it wasn't. It was kind of. I think they grazed each other.
What's Miami been doing defensively? What you've seen on film?
Oof, they're really fast. They're playing a 4-down. A lot of 4-down with athletes. They got 3 young linebackers that can run really well. They're in 2 or 3 years they're going to be like, whoa. I think they're back to that traditional Miami 4-3, attacking people, causing havoc in the backfield. Coverage-wise, they're playing a lot of man-free, a lot of quarters coverage like we play, are their base. They've stopped blitzing as much, but I assume we'll probably get blitzed this weekend. But they have not blitzed as much. But when their backers blitz, they're active, so they can cause a lot of havoc in the backfield because they're big, strong, and fast. They are fast.
Speaking of blitzing, is it fair to say that you guys blitzed a lot more last season, or no?
I would say we're probably about the same. I would say we're like 60-40. Again, that's mostly zone pressures. I'd say we've only probably man pressured 10 times on the year, so we don't play a lot of man, but a lot of zone pressure.
Rush right now.
4-man pass rush, not very good. If you went and tracked down, I don't know how many sacks we've got on the year, but I know we got quite a few. But I would say, if I had to guess, if we had 20 sacks, I'd say 3 of them are for 4-man pressures, and that's not enough. We're not getting 4-man pressure, and again, that's a great question. Another disappointing thing when you look is you're not getting 4-man pressure, so then you got to bring guys to get it. But everybody wants to talk about those corners, but it's a two. It always takes. There's 11 guys out there. Our pass rush could be better, but what people are doing is gapping up and max protecting, so you can't get pressure on them. So then you're forced to either blitz them or play coverage, but you're still hanging those guys out, and you don't know when you're going to get that or if it's going to be a quarterback run. But we're not getting good enough 4-man pressure. I mean, you got Juan Price, a guy that is dynamic, but they're double teaming him a lot, and everybody else is getting singled up. So we don't have that that other guy that's really making somebody miss, and that hurts you if you don't have 4 guys up there that can do that.
What was the demeanor of the team in the days right after the loss?
They were good. I mean, I think kids are resilient. I mean, they're good. They were good last night, all day yesterday, lifting and all that. I mean, they're good. We gave them they had Friday off. Obviously they had class, and they had Saturday off. But they're good. I've talked to them on the phone. I've text messaged them. Their demeanor's good. I mean, this is a game. I mean, they've been through losses in high school, and this is the 3rd one this year, and they're all the same. They're all disappointing, and but these guys they I'm sure feel better than the coaches. Talked about last night. Coaches take it harder than players, I think. They come in here for 2 hours a day maybe, and then they walk out and they walk down the street with their girlfriend on campus, and then they go to class, and then they're playing video games. We don't play any video games. I don't see my wife. We sit in here all day doing this. So I think the coaches take it harder than the players sometimes.
After a loss like that, do you see your guys, your coaches, maybe working a little harder and maybe doing something a little extra?
It's a good question. I mean, I always get, I hate to lose. So I get, it makes me, I don't think you can work any harder. Maybe you work faster, maybe you want to get more. I mean, we work long hours as it is. I mean, we're here late anyway, so I don't think you can work any harder, but there's more urgency. I can't wait to go out to practice tomorrow, and every day I go out with practice, but there's some things I want to get fixed out there, and I'm going to be over in this drill over here, and I'm going to go over to this one. So there's a little bit more urgency, I think, after a loss.
You mentioned that Miami's defense is fast, and they always have been. How do you go about trying to replicate on that on a scout field? I mean, obviously, if you have Division I speed,
Peak's going to give us a few snaps. You can't replicate them. It's just like replicating, Georgia Tech's, triple option. You don't replicate it, and that's one of the things I kick myself in the butt. I don't think we played good up front. I thought we played high inside, not stopping the run. But that's, as I look back, sometimes you're worried about in practice of your D-line getting where they need to be, because on game day they're going to play with leverage. But we didn't play with good leverage. So tomorrow we're going to be playing a lot better leverage. But against scout team, you can get by and get your job done and look okay, like, oh, that was good, nice play. But you play this high in scout team, and then against the scout team, and then you go out in the game field and you don't do it. That's where, I talk about that's where it's my fault. I let that happen. Somehow I can't let that happen. So that's why I get, you talk about the urgency of making sure those details, and again, there's a fine line going out there and practicing, playing with leverage and, all of a sudden someone goes down, and all of a sudden you guys are saying, hey, what's the injuries update? What's going on here? So you don't want to get anybody hurt. But you know what? It's a tough game, as it says up on the wall there, and we got to practice tough. And that's where I blame myself.
To get more production out of the other defensive linemen who are getting those one-on-ones. Are you going to rotate more, or are you just going to challenge those guys?
Yeah, I wish we would have rotated more. Again, if you got guys like Amir Watts, I was disappointed he didn't get in the game Saturday, because he probably had And I told him that he probably had his best week of practice in 6 weeks. I mean, he had a great week of practice, and I was disappointed that he didn't get in the game. Okay, Jeremiah Taleni again has gone like this every week, and he made some plays. He needs to get more reps. I mean, our two big guys in there, Shakir and Tyreek are still. I mean, it's a long season. I mean, they're beat up a little bit, banged up. Even with a week off, you still, you might feel good, going into the game, but after the first quarter, you're going, man, I'm back to where I was. I'm busted up. But we should get more of those guys in there. Juan's about the only guy you don't want to take out. That's the one. When he's out, it's a little different. He's special.
Any final questions for Coach?
Your offense threw the ball more on first down against Virginia Tech than you had pretty much in any game this season. Obviously, Virginia Tech was expecting you guys to run. Did you see that affect them, just the volume of passes on first down?
Affect them?
Yeah, affect what they were doing defensively this game.
Yeah, I think it affected them. I mean, we mixed it up quite a bit. I mean, I told you guys they'd be all standing about 5 yards. You guys probably saw that, right? They were all up there. So you got to make them. You got to, spread them out a little bit. You got to try to, make something happen. I think, Quadra Henderson had a nice play on a deep ball that, got called back. That was our plan going in. I mean, they want to be all down in there, and we like to run it. Then we're going to have to spread it out and try to, open up some things for our run game. We did that. And James, he ran like a beast. That guy ran possessed. That's good for Halloween, possessed, right? Happy Halloween, too, by the way.
You wish that when you guys actually got the lead, when you finally got the lead, that those couple series that you pounded James a little more. I know it's easy to look back and say that, but especially the one where I don't think he got the ball at all on that series when you guys were leading the game.
Yeah, I can't go back to that point. You're probably talking about those 2 punts that we had in between those touchdowns. You're trying to mix it up, and if James is carrying it and doing a great job, you think maybe they're going to click in again. It's a guy with the with the marker last, I guess, but.